The casting for this movie was, to me, like a really good choice. You have two veterans of the big screen. You have Sean Bean and you have Daniel Day-Lewis, who Daniel Day-Lewis is, come out of retirement to be in this film. And this film was also directed by his son, Ronan Day-Lewis, and they both actually co-wrote the screenplay together. So for me, I'm pretty much excited to see not just a legend, but also him teaming up with his son to create the story that you know is going to be directed by him. So absolutely excited about that. And I did actually like how the story turned out and how it was, well written. I mean, it does take a lot of patience because there are a lot of moments in the film where there's a lot of talking, a lot of which is coming from Daniel Day Lewis's character, Ray, who we're trying to figure out what's going on with him, why he decided to become a hermit, be away from civilization and away from family. And so the movie was also well filmed too. When you think about it, it's like a lot of the shots, lots of wide angles to where you just see like the locations. One of which to me was my favorite is just that aerial shot where the camera's looking down and you just see the cabin that Ray has been living in, just surrounded by all these trees. That just to me was like a symbolism or a depiction of like just how much he's isolated himself from everybody, both mind, body, and soul. When you think about it, because when a lot of people tend to push people out, they tend to create that wall, right? And so those trees represented that wall that he's created to keep everybody out. But for Jim, Sean Bean's character, Jim, fights his way through the woods to find Ray and just deliver letters from his son's mom, who's been trying to reach out to him for so long too. And so just the thought about the letters just really made him like very uncomfortable because to him like he's just in a lot of pain right now. And so now we come to realize what that pain is when he starts to open up a little more to Jim. And that's again where there's a lot of dialogues, but the way those scenes with him talking, it's pretty long, but then it's like, this is somebody who's been in hiding for a very, very long time. And so when you hear what he has to say, it can be very intense because he has gone through a lot apparently. And so, um, the best way of describing his dialogue is like just sitting down with either your dad, your grandparents, or even a war veteran, like just as an example, and just hearing all these war stories. But the thing about war stories is not a lot of them are all you know not epic or lots of glory involved. It's just there's a lot of terror in there too, and a lot of those terrors ended up, scarring Ray for life, and that's what we come to learn too. Is just what kind of scars and what kind of pain he's gone through. Now, there's another thing to point out too. Is just the perspective of everyone else. The mother, played by Samantha Morton, she had to explain to Ray's son, which both never even met before. So Ray's never met his son's never met Ray either. So his son wanted answers because everybody that he hears from at school or work is saying how much of a bad person that Ray is, but then he still is you know, very stressed out about it. And so his mom finally told him, and just even for her, she didn't know what was going on. Like she's been wanting answers too. Not even her, oh no, sorry, not even Ray's coworkers at that time was able to tell her. In a sense, it was kind of a way of saying like, you wouldn't understand. It's like you would have to experience what he experienced in order to understand too. But then the thing is that with all of Ray's depression and also trauma, it was affecting both uh, him and her to where she's just wanting him to be home and to be with her and both of their son. And so it's just a great example and depiction of like what, you know, trauma and PTSD can do to oneself. And I don't even know if it has anything to do with PTSD, but I do know that there's been many stories of people who go through that to where it did have something to do with not just their past, but their experiences in the past. Sorry, yeah, their experiences in the past to where, you know, now they just, you know, aren't the same anymore, and now they just feel like they can't be around everybody else. And so when you come to find out too why he came and faced his son is pretty you know, pretty interesting. I mean, it's pretty sad too, because like I said, like what he did in the past, which, you know, spoiler, he ended up killing someone, and that someone was a, you know, 16 or 17-year-old kid, and it was part of a mission that he was in. And you know, the thing that made it even more harder for him to face his son was that that kid that he killed was about the same age as his son is. And so just I could imagine like him, you know, confronting his son or talking to his son about what he did. It would just pretty much hurt him a lot knowing that, you know, he killed someone, and that someone was a kid. It was nothing heroic, nothing to be glorified for, but just, you know, it just was something that completely haunted him for so long. And it took his brother Jim to go out there and hell, even kicked his ass just to get him to snap out of it and realize that, you know, it was time to move on. All right, guys, so that's it for this review on Anemone. Definitely check it out. Starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Sean Bean, and great story. I mean, it's a drama, but it's a great story nonetheless. So if you guys already seen it, definitely let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it. And if you guys haven't done so either, definitely click on that subscribe button. That way you guys can get more updates on any events, projects, or movie reviews that I'll be involved in. So till then, guys, this is Jason Lohr with Jason Lohr Photography and Films, bringing art, stories, and entertainment. And thanks for stopping by at the Movie Corner, and we'll see you guys at the movies.